prompt me to say a lot of things. So your questions might prompt me to say a lot of things, based on what Fumi said earlier, the way it works, because I realized that in a forum like this, you can easily get lost if you're from the UK mingling with the US guys, because it works differently here. Our interviews, our processes, it's quite different. So feel free, ask me anything along the line, because this is not a scheduled, like, I wouldn't say, this is not a session where I prepared slides or anything, because Fumi and the other guys, I think they've already been doing a fantastic job already. So I'm just, touching on the UK aspect of things. So feel free to stop me at any point in time to ask me anything. Okay, so from the UK perspective, if you want to become a Scrum Master, obviously you need a training like this platform. You need support system. You guys already have the best. You need, there's this certification. Okay, yeah, I think it's the same all over. PSM1 or CSM from Scrum Alliance. So that's like the basic requirements for you to get into the market. And obviously, you would need, the interviews process right now has really changed. So they're not looking for regular Scrum Masters anymore. I don't know how it is in the US, but they're not looking for regular Scrum Masters. They're looking for, because any administrator can facilitate and coordinate, right? So they believe if you're a regular Scrum Master, you just want to facilitate and coordinate, then yeah, you can as well look for a project administrator job. So they want more. That's why most organizations, they're calling it agile delivery managers. Agile delivery managers, they've got more responsibilities. Like sometimes in the UK, if you're an agile delivery manager, you probably will have a Scrum Master within your teams, but you are like the next level up, and delivery end to end is your cup of tea. So getting into the workspace after submitting, we've got different job sites. I don't know if you guys are already aware. We've got different job sites. The first level is the recruiter level. So the recruiter is calling you, getting to know you or whatever. Because in the UK here, the recruiters, they scam for this job. They hustle to get this position, and they want to know that they're recruiting the right person. So they are your first point of interview. I want you to take that as a first stage interview. So how you come across to your recruiter will determine how they present you to the client. So you want to talk confidently, you want to talk boldly, you want to talk seriousness, you want to be talking data, you want to be saying, I've done data projects, I've worked with mobile application, I've worked with web application, cloud. Trust me, by the time you go through all these 4 major areas, you would have touched one area they're looking for. So these are the 4 core areas. These are the 4 core areas that they're really looking for. So once you're able to get past the recruiter level to hiring manager, then that's another level entirely. So it's just the way you do your stuff. It's just the way you do your, You do your interviews that guarantees you a place. However, when you get into the workplace, there's this syndrome. I think Fumi must have mentioned this once or twice, the imposter syndrome. So you probably will feel overwhelmed and think, you start thinking to yourself, I'm sure they already know that I haven't done it before or something, whatever. But guess what? You know more than you think you know. So until something comes up, you never know that you know that thing already. So just want to take the bull by its horn and just go for it and just do what you need to do. Okay, so that's one stage of it. So the other part of it is you want to get yourself immersed in their product, whatever they're trying to build. In the UK here, they want you to be involved with you. Okay, so during interviews, they're asking you questions like testing. What is system testing? What is functional testing? What is integration testing? What is this? What is that? And you'll be thinking to yourself, I'm not a QA, I'm not a developer. Why are they asking me these questions? It's because nowadays they're not looking for people that will be telling them I facilitate ceremonies. They believe that's your normal role. You should be able to do that. So they're looking for that extra thing that you can say that, oh, okay, if they ask you what's integration testing, you should be able to talk about it. If they're asking you, okay, so what happens, how do you do release planning? How do you do, roadmap? Because sometimes you're used to your PO doing your roadmap. As a Scrum Master or as a delivery manager, you want to know how to do your roadmap. right? So they wanted you to talk about these things during the interview. And one thing I always do that has always worked for me is, okay, I always say to myself, and this is not me bragging, if I attend an interview, if you don't take me, it will probably be, or if I don't get that, it will probably be, it's either I don't want it, or maybe for some other reason. It wouldn't be because of what I've said or what I haven't said. Because the way I say my things, I will say it so confidently that you'll be thinking to yourself that, okay, that might actually be understanding. So you're speaking to what they've not even asked you. You're looking through the job description, you already know their pain points. And more often than not, they open when they open the interview session, they tell you a little bit about the company. They tell you a little bit about the project. So you want to be attentive. You want to listen, active listening skills. You want to listen so that when they ask you, okay, do you have any question? You're not asking a cliche question. When am I going to hear back? This. All those are cliche questions. You want to be asking intelligent questions. You want to be asking about the project. You want to be asking about the team. You want to be asking about their agile maturity, even if it's got nothing to do with what you're going to be doing. You get me now? So it just makes you come across as being professional and all this. So that's the level you want to be at. You want to be at the professional level. Remember, you're presenting yourself to them as a professional. So you want to speak that way. You want to come across that way. When you leave the interview room, you're remembered. I missed 10 candidates. You will remember me. There is no how. I will make sure I leave an impression there. I will say something that they're not used to hearing, right? So I will say that thing. You will never forget me. Even if you don't give me the job, you will never forget me. You will always come back to say something to me. So these are the things. So if you've got any question or if there's any direction for me, I don't know if there's any direction you want me to speak other than what I've done, or if anyone has got any question, please feel free, shoot, I'm listening.
All right, thank you for me. All right, UK guys, what questions do you have? What are the things that you think you need to know that you can shed more light on? Naomi, Bemi. Rena, do you have any questions? All right, Bemi, go ahead.
Okay.
Right. Sorry.
Sorry, I just got in now.
Can you hear me?
I'm not organized, so I'm just gonna quickly go on because I have an interview. No. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hold on, Bemi. Go ahead, Rena.
Okay. I just got not quite long, but there's just a very simple question I would like to ask. I know that the Scrum Master helps to upscale an organization. I know that. And I know that the main job of the Scrum Master is to act as a change agent. I'm new. I would like an overview of what the specifics. I don't know if that's the right context I'm using it. I just want to know the specifics of what a Scrum Master is. I don't know, I'm not putting this well, but
all right, I think I can help you out. So you want to know what her day-to-day activity is like?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Rena. What's your day-to-day activity like?
Okay, so Rena, are you already a Scrum Master?
No, she's not. She just started.
Okay, all right. So your day-to-day activity with different organizations, there are different expectations. But however, there's like a basic thing. So what I do is once I log in, so I know that my meetings start from 10 a.m. So I'm logging in 9 a.m. because that's my official resumption time. So I want to go on my board. So I'm looking at my board, tickets from the previous day. You know, at the daily stand-up, we would have discussed some things that the team will be working on. So I want to check those tickets. Have they updated them? If they haven't, I want to follow up my team guys before daily stand-up of the very day. So I'm asking them, hey guys, so did you eventually get around to doing this? So if it's an update or maybe a follow-up, I'm talking to them that, okay, what's up? Did you guys get to talk with the DevOps team? What happened? Can you give me an update and all that? So they give me an update. Oh, okay, actually, yes, I was able to do it. I wanted to do this, blah, blah, blah. So it's basically me looking at the board, seeing that, okay, let's say we're 5 days to the end of the sprint. I'm thinking, okay, guys, we still have like 4 tickets there to be closed, and I know that they're not easy tickets to go by. So do you think we're able to complete these tickets? So I'm following up in the morning. So I do my daily stand-up with the guys. Sometimes I'm not able to attend daily stand-up because I have 2 teams. So and I can be back to back with them. So those kind of situations, I'm not canceling my daily stand-up because it's not my meeting really. It's the team's meeting. So it will go ahead. The meeting would go ahead normally. So the team, they are doing their daily stand-up. I'm into, then in my current company, we do Scrum of Scrums every single day for 30 minutes. So after my 2 daily stand-ups, we're doing Scrum of Scrum meetings. I'm giving updates to the program about the success of our projects, right? After Scrum of Scrum, I'm going back to my team because I've got 1 Kanban team, 1 Scrum team. So I'm going back to my team to see work that is coming through the support board. So we got a support board. So it's me basically monitoring the project to see if there are any blockers. That's where you find out that there's going to be some blockers. Your team, maybe they're overwhelmed and requesting for resource. So if you find out that your team is overwhelmed, you're requesting for resource, you must know how to ask the right question. You must know the right people to speak to. You must know how to pally up stakeholders. So you want to be in the face of your stakeholders, making sure you're building relationships because they can either break or make your project. So I build those relationships by having a chat with them. Sometimes it might not be relevant to my project. It might just be me being in the steering committee and we're just gisting. Normally, that's just for future purposes. So sometimes people ask, what do Scrum Masters do while the team they're working? You're doing on the groundwork. So if you ever find yourself in a place, where you feel, oh, my job as a Scrum Master is really easy. If you ever find yourself that you feel that my work is easy, trust me, you are not doing well. That means there's something you're missing out on. That means you're not actually doing the work because it shouldn't come across as ABC, right? So you're following up delivery. You're looking at your roadmap. You're looking at your tracker. Are they aligning? Your release plan that you've done against your roadmap, are they aligning? If they are not aligning, what are you doing about it? Are you escalating immediately? Are you telling the right people? Are the right people involved in your project? Are you updating your tracker? Like I've got a dependency tracker, I've got a project task list tracker, and I've got a roadmap where I work off on. So the release plan, you're checking all these things. It will take up your day. It will take up your day because you're meeting with different people, you're updating different people about the project. It depends on the kind of project you're working on. High-level project, you need to keep people informed, right? So because delivery is your bread and butter. So you want to get involved in the project. And also you want to have knowledge. You might not be writing code, you might not be doing the testing, but you want to have knowledge. I've been involved in UAT, right? I've tested things in UAT environments, test environment. I've done those things because I got involved and I was interested. So you don't want to be a Scrum Master that when your teams are saying something, you're just looking like a figurehead. You're just thinking, okay, you guys just stop, let me go. They will know. So you want to get yourself involved in things like that. You get me now? So I don't know if I've answered your question, Reina.
Rina, was she able to answer a bit of your question? I know you're new. You still have to watch
the research
and go on the portal. Actually, yes, that would help you understand. But some of the things that she said are things you're still going to read and understand later. This session is recorded, so you can always, after reading, you can always go back to what she said because everything she said is what you're going to be doing. She's doing a little bit more because she wants to know. She wants to know what's going on, and she's already part of the system, so it's easy for her to do all those UAT that she just mentioned. The same thing that I do in my organization. I do more than an average Scrum Master because I love what I do and I enjoy what I do. So those were the parts and the key things that she talked about. But some of the things are basic things that you do every day.
Yes, I have an idea of what she was trying to.
Good, Raina.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. Bimi, go ahead.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have an upcoming interview coming on, and in one of the email says there will be a tax element. The question is, does that mean that there will be a scenario-based question? That's number one. And then number two, on the job description of the Scrum Master, normally most of the job description will say for the Scrum Master to facilitate, to be a servant leader and stuff like that. But this time around is a bit more of a product focus. I'm just gonna post it on the chat for you to see if you can enlighten me more on what to be expecting in the interview. I've just posted the job description. Hello?
Yeah, I'm reading.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay, hang on a minute. Experience in stakeholder management. That's what I've said. Stakeholder management. You want to talk more about? They might ask you scenario questions about. Let me move from this area. Since it's a little bit loud. Okay, so they might ask you scenario questions about how you dealt with your stakeholders, how you manage them. Maybe they're expecting a lot from you. You're not able to deliver. How did you handle it? Previous products and systems you may have built. So you want to talk about you've worked on mobile applications. You've worked on well, like what I said earlier, maybe cloud migration project. That's one of your projects. You're migrating from maybe EPSA to CH, maybe EPSA to CHGP. You want to talk about the mobile app. You want to talk about data migration project. You know, things like that. The genuine interest and curiosity for all digital across mobile and social web. That one is self-explanatory, isn't it? Prior experience in designing functional, user-focused digital experience across. So you're not the one doing the designing, right? You're not the one. It's your team doing it, but you've been working with your team to make sure they're designing high-quality stuff that would be of value or benefit to the customer. So you want to talk about things like that. So this is more about talking more about the projects you've worked on and your impact on the team to deliver high quality, right? So you want to be talking about continuous improvement, how you helped your team move from point A to point Z, right? It's a gradual process. So you're not coming across to them as a magician. The Scrum Master is not a magician. So change is a gradual process. How you started the change process. Did you retrospect first? How did you get them in? So did you lead from behind? Or were you a micromanager? All those things you want to be talking about experiences. So any question they ask you, find a story to answer with. What I mean is, rather than answering theoretically, I want you to liken it to the project you've done before. So if they're asking you that, okay, have you dealt with whatever conflict resolution and all that? How did you do it? You don't want to be answering them that yes, I've done conflict management before, because conflict management is this. You have one-to-one with no. Tell them something that happened. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Let me tell you what happened in my past company. Mention the name of the company. Let's say you worked in NHS. Okay, when I got employed at the NHS, my first 2 weeks there, I was observing. You know, things they didn't ask you. You're going to talk about it while trying to answer their question, so that if they've got it on their list, they tick it off. So that's what I try to do. So I'm talking about when I first joined the team, I started observing. And when I was observing, I noticed that they were always at loggerheads, blah, blah, blah. The QA lead had a brawl with the tech lead. And, you know, they stopped the daily stand-up. So I had to end that daily stand-up, you know. So I got chatting with the QA lead. His name is Vaughn. So I started chatting with him that what could be the problem, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're calling names unconsciously. So you're not doing it on purpose, right? So you want to be talking like you're talking to your friend that, oh, okay, Flame, see, let me tell you this guy in my place of work, his name is James. So you want to be talking like that. So you'll be sounding like they know in their head, they know this person has done this job. This person has been in this environment. This actually happened. You know, it's a character you're playing. You want to play it well. So you're calling those names. So I had a chat with Vaughn, and I had a chat with James separately. So I realized that what really happened was miscommunication. So it was not a case of they didn't know what they were doing, but they were miscommunicating. So since I realized that, I brought both of them into the same room, and they started talking to, and they
For me, we're losing you.
because they found out that the next meeting they were in the hello.
All right, you're back. We lost you for a few seconds.
Oh wow. Okay. So where did you stop hearing me?
Miscommunication.
Okay, yeah. So you want to talk about that? Okay, since you realized it was miscommunication, after speaking to them separately, you brought them into the same room to have a conversation. So they started talking about it. They were able to walk through that problem, and during the retrospective of that particular sprint, it was very evident that the new communication was an integral part of being a team member. So whatever question they ask you, please answer them with a practical answer. Don't answer them theoretically, except they're asking you things like, what is the output of the sprint backlog? Because I've been in an interview with an Indian guy, and he's asking me theoretical questions like, what is the output of the product backlog? What is the output of this? What is rundown charts? What is velocity? How do you do the velocity? How do you do capacity planning? All this crap, right? Those are theoretical things. But once they start asking you scenario questions, you want to answer with an example. In the UK here, that's the only way it will work. Answer them, tell them that, oh, actually, let me tell you about when I was at EDF. So when I joined EDF, the problem there was because they said the team wasn't closing all their tickets in every sprint. They never finished their work. So what I did was, the first time I logged into Jira, I checked their velocity. I realized that they were committing 120 story points. Meanwhile, data tells me that the velocity is 76.1 of work, and nobody was looking at this for them. So at the next sprint planning, I got on the sprint planning, and they started planning the work as usual. So I stopped the planner. I told them that, guys, let me share my screen. So I shared my screen. I showed them the velocity chart. I explained what it meant, that there's no value in seeing so many tickets on the board and not being able to complete it. That we want to commit more we can complete per time. So things like that I showed it to the team, and we'll go back into planning, and they grudgingly accepted, and they committed 70 into the sprint. And for the first time in the history of that team, they were able to finish all their tickets 1 day before the end of the sprint. And the retrospective was the best they've ever had, because they put it on the ticket because we use Miro. So you're talking like the way I'm talking to you now. So because in my organization that we use Miro. So on the Miro board, I was really surprised seeing people writing tickets like, this is the first time we're closing all our tickets. This is the first time we're having a good sprint. So the excitement was there. And all that, blah, blah, blah. So you're telling them a story. You're taking them on a journey. Any question they ask you, take them on a journey. That is why it's very important to have a story. Always have a story. Practice your story well, and make sure you deliver that story.
Thank you for me. Bemi, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, cool. And Osato, I did see your question on the chat to say, what if you've never done it before? One, every of our Q&A session, live Q&A, even the regular Wednesday sessions, we always talk about scenarios. People talk about what's going on in their current job. We always talk about scenarios. That's why we also encourage you to write down, have a pen and a paper, have a notebook, take down these scenarios. People's story become your story. We also have links to podcasts on the portal. We share on the WhatsApp group as well. Yes, somebody else's story becomes your story. You take ownership of it. She's given us 2 stories here today. That story is your story. You should own it, refine tune it to suit you. And most times we've all worked in different places before. Some of those stories will be similar to something you've seen at the job that you've done. Fine tune that story. Use the STAR approach. What is the situation? What's the task? what's the action, and what's the result. So you break your story down into that format and you give it to them. Podcast, you can never go wrong with podcasts. I hope that answers your question, Osato. Ishtar, go ahead.
Hi. So I just wanted to know what the best job sites were to find opportunities.
In the UK here, so you can use JobServe, you can use Indeed, there's LinkedIn, you can use Glassdoor, you can use CW Jobs, you can use eFinancial Careers, you can use Azuna, you can use Total Jobs, you can use CV Library. I don't use Read. You can use CV Library, you can use Read if it works. Yeah, that's just to mention a few. If you want me to type it into the chat, I can do.
Yeah, that would be awesome, so that I can just take a note of those and screenshot them. Thank you so much.
Thank you for me. Any other questions for her?
Yes, can I ask a question, please?
All right, go ahead, Naomi.
Like, for me, you mentioned about in your you mentioned about clouds. For someone that hasn't got any technical knowledge like me, is it compulsory that I mention clouds? If I was to go into interview, how would I be able to bypass that?
Okay, so the thing is, before I answer your question, because you prompted me now to say something. So
Okay.
be mindful that during an interview, what you're not really sure about, or what you can't really talk further on, don't even go there. So it's like you mentioning, let's say, velocity, and you really don't know the explanation really well deeply. Just mention it in passing and just move, or avoid it totally. So now back to your question. You're not the one doing the cloud migration. It's your team. You've just worked in that environment where they're doing that project before. Your role still stands. You're not the one doing all the migration, the DevOps work, or the GitHub work and all that. You're not the one doing it, but it's your team. So they're never going to ask you that, how did you write your code? How did you do your testing? It's not your job. Feel free to say it. My team was the one working on this. I wasn't writing code. Sometimes interviewers can be very tricky. They might not know what they're even asking you. So they just want to see if you know your role within the team. Know your role within the team, you'll be fine. Once you know your role, no matter how they try to serve you around, you'll be fine. Just tell them your role, the role you play. Just make sure that you're seeing your team. You guided your team. You supported your team. You ensured that your team, you did this, your team understood the vision, and they were able. So we were tasked with migrating from one cloud services to another cloud services. My team was able to do that because of my guidance. My team was able to do that because I supported them. I noticed areas of improvement and we're able to talk through it. I coached my team. Know your role and know peace.
Thank you, because that is the areas where that gets me really worried when it comes to going to interviews or even trying to really assimilate and get the angle of being a Scrum Master, because I feel like if I can't walk the walk, I might not be able to talk the talk. So that is more of a issue where I'm concerned, and I can see that it's still a limiting factor currently for me. And but yes, thank you.
I tell you what, you don't even need to be limited in any way. Let me tell you something. Confidence is key. Confidence is 80% of your role done. If you've got the confidence, you can look a very techie person in the eye and direct them towards what they're supposed to be doing, and you look like a very good professional. You're not doing the work. You don't even have an idea of what they're doing. But the way you talk to your team, let me tell you something. They keep saying, Scrum Master, servant leader, servant leader, servant leader. It doesn't mean you're a yes man. It doesn't mean anyone can talk to you however they want. No. It's the fact that you know your role. Once you know your role, let's say somebody in the team, you might join an organization where somebody's trying to undermine you or talk you down because you're not technical. Look them in the face and tell them that's your job. So if you want to tell me about what you're doing, you need to break it down. Let me understand what you're doing. Immediately, the person will fall in line. If they don't fall in line, you make them fall in line. Not by commanding or whatever, but once you know your role, nobody can intimidate you. You don't write scripts, you don't write codes, you don't do testing. If you know all these things, it's just part of it. It's an addition. That's not your role. So know your role and be confident with your role. You get what I mean?
Yes, for me, I do get what you mean. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for me. And Naomi, when we do the resume session with you, all these worries are going to go, because that's where we have conversations with you. Both of us are going to talk together. What are the projects you're going to talk about? How does this work? We're going to give scenarios. For everyone who's done this resume session with us, they can tell because they already have the projects they're working on. So first thing that she talked about is confidence. Leave every other thing. You don't code, you don't test, we don't do those things. But you will own your story. My team worked on, not me. I don't know how to test. I can test some things, but I don't know how to develop any code. And the testing is because I chose to do it. So own it. It's the first thing is confidence. If you don't have confidence, it's difficult to get through anything in life. All of us are in different locations today. It took us a step to get to where we are. You had to have the confidence to get to where you are today. That same confidence is what gets you your job. So think of where you're coming from. Think of where you are right now and think of where you want to go. That's the difference. So Naomi, when we work together, you'll have a better understanding on this.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Amadou, go ahead.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm probably gonna just piggyback a little bit about what was just said about understanding the technical. So my question is okay, you don't have to know the technical side of things, but my question right now is like, as a servant leader, wouldn't it benefit you to understand the language of the developers to be able to serve them better? So that's one. Two is like literally, let's say so right now I'm an AWS certified. Let's say I get on a cloud company as a Scrum Master, but I understand the language. So during the interview, I know how to talk about, okay, when I was a Scrum, our first sprint was to launch EC2. Our second was to launch S3 for the data. So is it okay to talk technical into Scrum this way? If you know.
Okay, cool. So I like what the word you used, that would it be beneficial? Yes, yeah. It will be, but it's not the end of the world if you're not. So like if you've got that experience, shine with it during an interview. It just places you high. That's just it. It's an addition.
Gotcha. Because the reason I'm bringing this really is that most of the job application I'm seeing, they want to see technical background for some reason. I don't know why, but they want you to know, to have some technical background. It's not all of them, but I'm seeing that with most of them.
Okay, so let me tell you something, right? So if you've been working, they expect that. If you've been working, if you're claiming to have 6 years of experience, right? You can't be working in an environment for 6 years and not know what's going on, isn't it? So if you claim to be working 6 years, you would know certain things. You might not be writing codes or whatever, but if they say S3 bucket, what does S3 bucket mean? Your team, they've said it once, twice, 4 times, 5 times. You're researching it. You know what it means. You know what it does. There's a repo to store codes or whatever, So if they ask you something like that, you're able to, know the definition, you know why it's done. You know why unit testing is done. You know why regression is done. You know what a retest means. All these things, you're not doing it, but you know. It only places you in a place of advantage. That, oh, okay, they're asking you this thing. You're not just thinking that, oh, no, what I do is just facilitate ceremonies. No, you want to know all these things, like you have it in your head because you've been working with these people. Even while we're here, even if you're a new Scrum Master or you're just aiming to be one, all these words we've been calling, if you're wise, write them down, Google them. What is system testing? What is functional testing? What is a GitHub? What does it do? What do you know all these things? You're not doing it, but just have them in your head. So you can speak to these things. If they ask you that, okay, I've been in an interview, they've asked me, what What's integration? What's integration testing? You know, if I know the definition, that's it. What is CI/CD? How does DevOps work? Write these things down, know the definition. So if you're technical, good for you. If you're not, just make sure that you're not speaking like someone that hasn't heard of it before. It's just like a Scrum Master claiming I've got 5 years experience and you've never heard of iteration. Because you've heard sprint, you've never heard of iteration before. They will know there and then like you've never done it.
Yeah, makes sense. So just use the technical into advantage if you can. If you can, just stay away from it.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Amadou, I thought you had a second question.
Yeah, I think the second question was just, I think it was a little combined. It was like, yeah, the technical side sometimes required on her resume, but she was good and thorough about her explanation. She answered all my questions.
Okay, cool. You know it, use it. It's your go-to card if you know it. But if you don't, just study for it. Like you said, these words we hear, write them down. What is repo? CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment. There's no one who's done safe on this platform that shouldn't know what a CI/CD is. Unit testing, who does unit testing? So if you don't know, that means you need to go back and watch the videos that we've done on the portal, because all those things we've talked about them. The various type of testing that occurs, we've talked about them. What does the developer do? What does a QA do? You just need to have an idea. Nobody's expecting you to be technical. No one expects you to know, oh, so there's 4 lines of code or 10 lines of code. No one expects you to know that. So these are little things that just quick research. Have it in your notebook. Oh, she mentioned a new word today. Write it down. Go and find out about it. And maybe for your interview, your upcoming interview, what are the products that you have? What are the projects that you have when you tell me about yourself? Are you listening to podcasts? Podcast gives you scenario-based answers. Some of the videos we've done in the past also have scenarios that you could talk about, that you can own and say, oh, so this happened on my team. Someone else's story becomes yours. That's the way to shine. All right, any other questions? All right, Michael, go ahead.
Hello.
Hi,
Can you hear?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
It's nice to be with you guys once more. Sorry, I joined in late. My question is around what is the minimum value that a Scrum Master brings to the party? Because I understand when you keep saying that the Scrum Master is into conflict resolution, removal of impediments, but if the Scrum Master doesn't have that technical background, the language, the culture of the developers and all those other team members, you don't have an understanding, it becomes even pretty more difficult for you to be able to solve any of these problems. So what is the minimum requirements or value that a Scrum Master can do?
Let me, Michael, see, the Scrum Master number 1, you need to be a people person. Even if you're not by nature, you have to be. If you're not, if you can't be, don't be a Scrum Master. So when you're a people person, you'll be interested in what people have to say. So like what we've been saying all day, it ties into the question you're asking now. So we've said a lot of things. We've mentioned a lot of techie words today. Your job is to research, right? No matter how much training Fumi and the team gives you, the onus is on you to research, learn more beyond what you've been taught. What is my role? No matter what you're taught here on this platform, outside this platform, what do? Do you just go about your daily duties? No. If you really want to do this job, you have to sacrifice a lot of things. Go on YouTube, type it there. My role as a Scrum Master, my value as a Scrum Master. Go on Google, search those words that you find out on YouTube or what someone else is saying. You will build yourself that way. And you yourself, like I said from the start, you never know you know what you already know. You never know it until you're faced with that situation. So your role is your role as a Scrum Master. You are a servant leader, you are a conflict manager, you are a continuous improvement manager, you are a delivery manager. right? You're a project planner. You know, you're a people person. You're a process manager. These are your roles. These are your roles under one hat. But above all, you want to take it a top notch. You want to stand out from a regular person attending an interview. That, oh, I just want to tell them I facilitate ceremonies. I just want to, those ceremonies you're talking about that you're facilitating, can you explain them really well? Or can you just explain them because somebody has told you sprint planning is where you plan the ticket into the sprint? No. Do you know what planning is? Do you know what gives birth to the planning? Where did you get all those work you're planning? Where did the PO get it from? Do you know the artifact that supports the product backlog? Do you know the artifact that comes off the product and the sprint planning? So there's more to all these things. It's a level. It's a level you will get. If you ask Fumi now, so she will not sound like Fumi would not be telling you that I will just do sprint planning, I just share my sprint, and that's how we do sprint planning. She will take it a top notch, different to somebody that's just joining based on theoretical knowledge. So you want to research more. Whatever you're doing, research more.
Thank you very much for that response.
Thank you, Fumi. We talk about Scrum Masters, we talk about continuous improvement. Where does that start for you? What are you doing to improve yourself? Very key. TJ, go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thank you for that amazing information. I actually have a question. I don't know if this is going to be an added advantage for, in case of an interview. Let's say, for example, just because you wanted to show them that you have the skill to lead a team or to lead a people or to be able to work on conflict resolution and the likes. Let's say, for example, you have an history. I mean, we all went to college, high school and all that. So let's say, for example, during those years, you've been taking responsibility on coaching and mediating during conflicts and some other experience that you represent people. So let's say, for example, during these times, and they are asking you a question in the interview, regarding how you could lead people or a team, or how you could facilitate events and the likes. Do you think it's advisable to make some scenario around, for example, let's say, okay, when I was in college, I also have the opportunity to be the, maybe student union president or something like that, just to show that you've been, leading and coaching teams and dealing with people as a whole for a long time. Do you think that's going to help?
Okay, so that would be valid if you're applying for a junior Scrum Master or an intern role. So if you're applying for an intern role, you can talk about your school days and all that and all that. But if you're applying as a seasoned professional, you want to liken that story to your workplace. So let's say you're the student union leader and you wanted to make that example of a conflict you were involved in resolving and all that. Liken it to your place of work. You don't need to call students and all that. Liken it, make that story a workplace story. However, if you're applying as an intern or a first-time Scrum Master, then you can do that. To get my drift.
TJ, does that answer your question? So rather than liking it to school,
yeah, thank you.
Yes. Great. Amadou.
Okay, it's me again. So there is a question that I'm getting confronted to a lot these days on the job market. And as I say, we're all connected remotely. You are in the UK, some of us in the United States, some of us in Canada. So I saw a position in France as Credit Suisse. So the requirement is a Scrum Master, but it's just for a Scrum Master that's going to be here in the United States. But that Scrum Master has to be speaking English, he has to be speaking French, and he'll be working with teams in France and India. So a person like me, I'm a native French speaker, but I never really done it. So what would you advise for someone who's trying
Yeah, I can do it.
global
Yes,
market?
the simple answer is yes, I can do it. If you can speak French and you
Yeah.
have that kind of job description, and oh yes, I've done it before. I've worked with I've worked with teams in Poland, teams in India. I don't speak India, right? So it's about it's still your people management skills, isn't it? So regardless of the language you're speaking, your skill remains the same. You're just speaking the language because they probably don't speak your own language. So it's an additional resource on your additional skills to be able to speak an extra language. And good for you, you can't speak French. So yes, I would claim it. Oh yeah, of course. I remember the last time I worked with Webber, I had this colleague who was very good, fluent in French, but he wasn't really fluent in English. So when I spoke to him in French. That's it, case closed. Don't dwell on it.
But the big question I had, because I did some research, what I had is there's something they call, like, the trick about these kind of jobs is about understanding the golden time. It's like, how are you going to manage the team in France? How are you going to manage the team in India?
Oh, okay.
That's where I was
Okay,
kind
so
of scared, basically. I was like,
right. Okay, so let me tell you something. So I used to work somewhere, not as Scrum Master, product specialist. So I had a team in New York. I live in the UK. So I had a team in New York. So what you want to tell them is to work with their time zones. So the Indian guys, by your 9 o'clock, they are in the evening, right? So you want to know the time zone of these people. So the Indian guys, the ones in the UK, the ones in France. So to answer your question ahead of your interview, check a common time that is suitable for everyone. If it's 12 noon, your own time that will work for everyone, tell them that that's when you do your daily stand-up.
Gotcha.
And you make sure that you schedule all your meetings for everyone to be able to attend conveniently.
Perfect. Makes sense. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Great. So we do have one last question for me before she goes. Michael has a question in the chat, and he says, let me read it out. How do you manage language barriers?
Yeah, I think we've touched on it right now, isn't it? So they would never put somebody on the team that doesn't speak the language of everyone. So the basic is English. So even the Indian guys are not very fluent in speaking English. They speak English anyway, right? It might not be clear, but they speak English anyway. So it's not, they won't put you in a Spanish group if the requirement is not for you to speak Spanish, or if you've not claimed to speak Spanish. That's it.
All right. Thank you, Fumi, so much for taking time out of your schedule, even though I know you're at an event, for spending time with us. We do appreciate it. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you for me.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. What did we learn today? What is it different from the things we've been talking about? That's her perspective from the UK. How different is it? What have you learned today? Let's talk about it.
She kept it real, 100%. I like that.
Yep, we need to bring her back.
On a day that she's not in a party. Yes. The only challenge is we can't bring her on Wednesday because Wednesday is too late. So it has to be a Saturday that works with her. So we'll plan another one and let her come. She's real. She's not joking. Your confidence has to be top notch when you're talking about it. And that's one thing we keep selling. What else have you learned today?
That we can apply for a job globally, not only in the United States.
Of course. That's the new marketing trend. I do have a friend who has developers in Poland. She has developers in India. She has flown to Poland to meet her team. She goes there maybe once or twice a year. So there's global opportunity, guys. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to, I live in Atlanta, let me just find job in Atlanta. No, widen your horizon. People in Canada can work in the US. Very possible. People in the US can work in Canada. There's no limitation anymore. How are you applying for jobs? Are you narrowing your search or are you widening your search? People are like, I don't want to go to the office. I don't want to do work from the office. I don't want to do hybrid. Widen your horizon. Things change. They might tell you it's hybrid today. I know people who, when they applied for the job, it was hybrid. And they had a conversation. They negotiated to say, I know it was hybrid, but unfortunately, I can't move because my kid is in school. Or guess what? They turned that position to remote. Don't limit your search. Widen your horizon. Go ahead, Amadou.
But quick question again. I mean, yeah, I know we all want to talk about US, Canada, and UK. How about Africa? Do you know any Scrum Master job over there? They got Google and AWS.
Look for someone. Hold on, she's here. Busola, yeah. Unmute yourself and talk. Busola is in the
Amadou.
Busola, answer that question.
We gotta bring the big elephant in the room. How about Africa? Come on, guys.
Honestly, Amadou knows. Amadou knows. My cap is for the global job. I'm thinking global, so he knows already. I can't answer. I can't speak to Nigerian market. I was on your first line of thought, Coach Fumi, as in I just believe that after COVID, the possibilities are limitless, yes. And so I just got on that train of what. I can, from this Nigeria, do anything I want to do, and I'm just glad to be on this platform because of that. Amadou will be all right. He should go look for the jobs in Africa.
Okay, I'll try my luck.
Thank you, Busola, for dropping that. However, one thing I did notice is in the African community, like they have an agile group on LinkedIn. I think I'm part of that group actually. And they're gradually building agile I know about Nigeria. I do not know about all other African countries, but I'm very positive about Nigeria that they're building